Hey everyone, and a huge welcome to all you teachers at the Rhill English Institute. This is our TKT training series, and we're kicking things off with a really important one, Unit 1, Grammar. Now getting this right, it's not just about the exam. It's about boosting your confidence and making you an even clearer teacher in the classroom. So let's just dive right in. The goal here is simple. We're going to get you totally comfortable with the way we describe language for TKT Module 1. Really, this is all about building up your confidence so you can walk into that exam and your classroom feeling completely prepared. So you see a question like this, and you're probably thinking, yeah, I know what a noun is. But you see, the TKT asked us to go a little bit deeper. It's not just about what a word is, but it's about its very specific classification and its function. Nailing these little distinctions, that's exactly what the test is looking for. And that's our mission today. We're going to break down these core grammar concepts. By the time we're done, you're going to have a really clear framework that'll help you crush it on the exam, for sure, but also in how you explain language to your students day in and day out. All right, first things first, we got to build our foundation. So what do we actually mean by grammar from the TKT's point of view? Because it's a little more nuanced than just, the rules of English.
The best way to think about it is like it's the architecture of a language. It's the blueprint we all use to build meaning. So our job, for the exam, and for our students, is to make that whole system conscious, to learn the names of all the building blocks and really get how they fit together.
Take a look at this sentence. As speakers, we get the meaning instantly, right? But the TKT wants us to put on our teacher hats. It wants us to be able to consciously point to each part, the pronoun, the adverb, the verb, the noun, and explain exactly what job it's doing. That's the skill we're really sharpening here. Okay, now let's get into the real nuts and bolts. There are two key areas you'll absolutely be tested on, and we need to be crystal clear on the difference between grammatical forms and parts of speech. They sound similar, but they're talking about two very different things. And this, right here, is probably one of the most important distinctions to get. Grammatical form is all about a word's structure, how it's built. Part of speech is all about its function, what job it's doing in a sentence. Just burn this into your brain. Form versus function. That's the key. So when we talk about grammatical forms, we're looking at things like adding an S to make a word plural, or adding ing for a gerund. It also includes things like prefixes, like un in unhappy, or suffixes like in teacher. These are all physical changes to a word that change its meaning or its use. And then, on the other side of the coin, we've got the parts of speech. Now, just knowing these 9 categories, that's just step 1. Like we saw a minute ago, the TKT demands that we go deeper. It's not going to be enough to say something is a noun. You need to be able to say what kind of noun it is. And this table shows you exactly what I'm talking about. Look at the level of detail here. It's not enough to say furniture is a noun. For the TKT, you've got to identify it as both uncountable and collective. Can isn't just a verb, it's a modal verb. This is the kind of precision Module 1 is testing. Okay, so you might be thinking, this is a lot of theory. How does this actually help me in the classroom or, on the test itself? That is a great question. Let's connect those dots right now. And remember, this is not just about memorizing a bunch of terms to pass a test. When you master this terminology, you become a much more effective teacher. When you can explain why a sentence is built a certain way, you can design way better lessons and give your students much clearer feedback. It's a practical toolkit for building both their accuracy and their fluency. So let's see what this looks like in the wild. How does a TKT actually frame these questions? Well, they're not going to ask you for a dry definition. Nope. They're going to give you real language in a real context and ask you to identify what's going on. So let's try a sample question together. Okay, your turn. Take a look at the sentence and the 3 options. She said she was really upset. Which grammatical term best describes that structure? Is it A, gerund, B, present perfect simple, or C, reported speech? I'll give you a second to think it over. Did you get it? The correct answer is C, reported speech. This is a perfect example of a TKT-style question. It's not testing if you can define the term, it's testing if you can recognize that specific grammatical structure and its function in a real sentence. This is a core skill for Module 1. Okay, so as we start to wrap this up, let's talk about the big takeaway, the most important thing to remember as you keep prepping. This isn't about memorizing a huge list of terms. It's about building a much, much deeper understanding of the language you teach every single day. At the end of the day, getting a solid grip on these concepts does two huge things for you. It sets you up for success on the exam, and it builds your confidence as a teacher. When you truly get the why behind the language, you empower yourself and you empower every single one of your students.
You know, this journey of professional development is something we're all taking together. So go forward, review these concepts, and prepare with confidence, knowing you're building a stronger foundation for yourself and for our entire Rhill community. Good luck.